Hi guys, I am Dr. Sunish Sharma. Today's lecture is about abnormalities of the smell. Okay. There are four major specialized system in the nose for olfaction. Four olfactory system. So olfactory system, already. This is special somatic afferent. It is pure sensory, 1 to 8 nerve. They are SSA. Okay. Special somatic afferent, or you may say pure sensory sensations. In humans, it is microscopic. Microscopic means they are less developed in smell of sense. So it is microscopic. If you see in dog and rabbit, it is macroscopic. In dogs and rabbits, it is macroscopic. If we talk about four major specialized system in the nose for the olfaction, first is cranial nerve 1, that is main olfactory system, that is through olfactory pathway. To olfactory nerve or olfactory pathway. I have already mentioned this in previous video about cranial nerve 1 or main olfactory system, the anatomy, olfactory nerve, bipolar neuron, each and every aspect of this cranial nerve 1 in last video. Now we will talk about accessory olfactory system, that is rudimentary in humans. That is called vomeronasal organ. You say vomeronasal organ. It's found in inferior aspect of the septum, anteroinferior aspect of the septum in lower mammals, but rudimentary in humans. It's rudimentary in human being. So it is vomeronasal organ. Some lower animals have basic system that secrete pheromones. So that attract the sexual activity in lower mammals. That is accessory olfactory system. This is rudimentary in human beings. Third system is trigeminal somatosensory system. It is for chemical sense. Okay, like phenol, ethanol. It is for chemical which irritate the mucosa of the nose. That is for trigeminal somatosensory system. Now we will talk about the nervus terminalis, that is also called cranial nerve 0 or 14. It's also may found in lower mammals, but not, it's rudimentary in the human being. So this nervus terminalis is also found in the anteroinferior aspect of the septum, which connect to the medial olfactory striae. So this function is mainly through medial olfactory striae, which is old in olfactory sense, which connect the brain. Okay. So these four system is mainly for olfaction. Now we will talk some abnormalities. Now anosmia is complete loss of smell. Total loss of smell is called anosmia. If we talk about partial anosmia is if you are sensing some smell but doesn't sense some other smells. Like pungent, if you are sensing pungent smell, you are not sensing camphor smell. It is just like that. Now hyposmia is decreased sensitivity of particular smell. Like if you are decreasing sense of pungent, but that particular decreasing sense of camphor smell is called hyposmia, also called macrosmia. Now we will talk about presbyosmia. It's decreased sense of smell due to aging, due to decreased nervous function due to aging. Osmophobia. It's if you fear of smell is called fear of smell. fear of smell called osmophobia. Hyperosmia is increased response to odor rather than sensitivity. It's increased particular response to a particular smell is called hyperosmia. It's mainly found in the pregnancy, Addison disease, that is corticosteroid disease, migraines, drug withdrawal, epilepsy, and psychosis. You have to remember this. Hyperosmia is found in pregnancy, Addison disease, migraine, drug withdrawal, epilepsy, and psychosis. What is dysosmia? Dysosmia is altered sense of smell. Altered sense of smell is called dysosmia. It may be cacosmia is fecal-like smell. It may be parosmia, may be altered smell to a particular smell. Phantosmia is olfactory hallucination. It's also found in the sometimes in the pregnancy or stroke or brain disease patient, or maybe Addison's or Alzheimer or central stroke. Phantosmia is olfactory hallucination, or mainly in the psychotic disease, psychotic disorders, psychotic conditions. This phantosmia also found mainly in the psychotic disorder. What is olfactory agnosia? It's found in mainly stroke patient. Olfactory agnosia is your olfactory system is intact, but your brain is not responding. That is called olfactory agnosia. And one term is, another is heterosmia. Heterosmia. Heterosmia, if you are sensing all smell is look like same. So all smell sense is all are same. All are same smell. So this is called heterosmia. Now we will talk about what are the primary smells. There are 7 primary smells. What are the primary smells? There are 7 primary smells. What they are? First, if we talk about camphorous. Camphorous is camphor like smell, that is mouthful. Second one is pungent. Third is putrid. Putrid is rotten eggs. Putrid. Pepperminty. Or you say mint. Any, if you are taking any mint like smell. Ethereal. Ether like smell. 6 is floral, flower like smell, floral. And 7 is musky. Musky. So these are the primary several smell. You know, camphorous, pungent, putrid, pepperminty, ethereal, floral like flower, and musky, musk like smell. So these are primary 7 type of smell, but there are 10,000 different type of smells. For that we have 100 types of genes. Okay, for we have 10,000 of smells, we have 100 genes for 10,000 different smells. Okay, now we will talk about causes of smell. Causes of loss of smell. Smells. If we draw some basic, it may be congenital. or this may be acquired. If we will talk about congenital, there is a lack of development of the olfactory system, olfactory nerves is called congenital lack of development. Lack of development of olfactory pathway or olfactory nerves. There are many types of syndrome, but we will talk about most common disorders. First, we will talk about de Morsier syndrome. De Morsier syndrome. This is septo-optic dysplasia. This is development of lack of development of septum, which divides this is brain. So this development of the septum pellucidum. This septum pellucidum is divide the left and right hemisphere. So this is absent. So this is septo-optic dysplasia. There will be precocious puberty, vision loss due to lack of development of optic nerve, and anosmia due to absence of olfactory bulb development. So this is de Morsier syndrome is septo-optic dysplasia, absence of development of this septum pellucidum, leading to precocious puberty, vision loss, anosmia, and absence of pituitary gland. So this is de Morsier syndrome. Another syndrome we will talk about is Kallmann syndrome. Kallmann syndrome is excellent disease which leading to hypogonadism. This is small genitalias due to this lack of development of Kallmann syndrome. This also having absence of olfactory bulb. If you go through in both, if we will do MRI in these both conditions, de Morsier syndrome or Kallmann syndrome, we will have definitely no olfactory bulb. But in Kallmann syndrome there is no vision loss. If we can find there is absence of pituitary gland, optic nerve, and olfactory bulb. So MRI is more helpful to diagnose the de Morsier and Kallmann syndrome. Genetic testing also helpful. We have found in many studies one isolated olfactory congenital loss also found is in one gene leading to SCL9A gene. Which gene? SCL9A gene, which is most important in development of sodium gated channel, which is very necessary for the olfaction, because sodium influx leading to action potential, which ultimately leading to smell physiology. So this lack of development sodium gated channel because of SCL9A gene, which leading to lack of development of sodium gated channel. This is also MCQ These are the common causes of congenital loss of smell. And another cause you may found in the holoprosencephaly or anterior neuropore development disease. So these are the congenital loss of smell. Now we will talk about acquired loss of smell. Acquired loss of smell, mainly most common is URTI or chronic rhinosinusitis, or you may say septonasal disease like allergic rhinitis, polyps. So URTI and chronic rhinosinusitis may be allergic polyp or septonasal disease. Septonasal disease like DNS, gross DNS, concavulosa, which obstructing the lesion to transport to the nose. So URTI, if you see recently COVID disease, COVID-19, some virus having capacity to attach, this is olfactory epithelium. So this is the virus, corona or maybe coronavirus, rhinovirus, herpes virus. Or many other viruses. Mainly coronavirus, herpes virus are common, which lead to destroy this olfactory epithelium by attacking ACE2 receptors. By attacking the ACE2 receptor, which leading to destroy the olfactory epithelium or bulb, because they all virus can transport this through this bipolar neuron to the central nervous system, which damage this olfactory, also damage the globose light cells. These globose light cells having capacity to regenerate this olfactory epithelium or olfactory bipolar neuron. This globose light cell replace this olfactory epithelium in each and every 60 days, because this olfactory bipolar neuron degenerate in 60 days and replaced by the globose light cells, because these are the stem cells in the nose. Stem cells, they have the potential to regenerate the stem cells and other supporting cells of the olfactory epitheliums. Okay. Now, chronic rhinosinusitis, which lead to atrophy of the neuroepithelium by chronic illness and damaging this globose light cells and other olfactory bipolar neurons. Septonasal disease like chronic DNS also affecting. So, most common cause of olfactory smell loss is septonasal disease. It's combined with URTI, CRS, polyps, concavulosa, everything. Now, acquired disease, some systemic disease also, like diabetes mellitus, hypothyroidism, liver disease, Addison's disease, like surgeries, also like laryngectomy, tracheostomy. These are the other causes, acquired causes of olfactory disorder. Other acquired causes may be like brain tumor, stroke, brain tumors, or most common is head trauma. Head trauma. These are the causes of loss of sense of smell: stroke, brain tumors, and head trauma. Now we will talk about some head trauma. Head trauma. Occipital head injury 5 times more leading to olfactory loss than the frontal trauma. So olfactory loss is more common in occipital trauma, then also found in the frontal trauma due to shearing force leading damage to olfactory epithelium and olfactory bulb. So this is about head trauma leading to the most important point is occipital trauma, head injury leading more olfactory loss than the frontal trauma. MCQ. Now we will talk about some syndrome related to brain tumor. Any brain tumor in frontal lobe like meningioma, olfactory neuroblastoma, these are most common. Meningiomas and olfactory neuroblastoma are most common, which lead to loss of smell. There are two syndromes. One is Foster-Kennedy syndrome. Another is pseudo Foster-Kennedy syndrome. Foster-Kennedy syndrome is this ipsilateral optic atrophy due to this meningioma olfactory neuroblastoma leading to contralateral papilloedema. Due to this large tumor, due to increased intracranial pressure leading to contralateral papilloedema, which leading to olfactory loss, this visual loss, or this anosmia is called Foster-Kennedy syndrome. In Foster-Kennedy syndrome, there is large meningioma olfactory neuroblastoma, large tumor, you may say, space occupying lesion in the frontal lobe as well, leading to Foster-Kennedy syndrome. What is pseudo Foster-Kennedy syndrome? In which there are already ipsilateral optic atrophy leading to due to any intracranial pressure increment without any tumor. There is no meningioma, no tumor, lead to opposite vision loss due to papilloedema, opposite contralateral papilloedema or vision loss. This is called increased intracranial pressure leading to which already exists the optic due to ischemia. So suppose this side is ischemia leading to intracranial pressure by another cause leading to papilloedema in another eye. Ultimately, vision loss is called pseudo Foster-Kennedy syndrome. So these are the common causes of olfactory loss. So what are the common causes? Now we summarize this. Is septonasal disease is 40%. Second one is head trauma, 30%. 3 idiopathic is 20%. These are the common causes of. What are the recovery chances? There is zero recovery chances in head trauma. There will be no total recovery. Sometimes partial recovery can occur in head trauma, but there is zero total recovery in olfaction. What is recovery in this? Is 35%. If septonasal disease like URTI, nasal polyp, recovery rate is here is 35%. Total recovery. Idiopathic recovery rate may be 25%. These are the common causes of septonasal disease. This loss of olfaction. Now we will talk about management. We will do definitely if there is acute or chronic loss, then we will do MRI. History taking is very compulsory. Classical history, acute or gradual loss. MRI brain is also important to rule out any SOL or any another cause of intracranial pressure increment or any other cause. We will do smell testing. Like there are 3 pocket test, pocket smell test, and there are 40 micro pockets, and also called upset. Upset is commercially available kit. You may say this is University of Pennsylvania smell identification test. This is full form of the upset 40. You say upset 40. This having 10 pockets of smell for each 4 rows. It's called University of Pennsylvania Smell Identification. This is commercially available kit. Commercially available kit. Kids, this upset University of Pennsylvania smell identification test having 6 grading. After doing this smell, sniff and scratch test. After doing sniff and scratch test, this Pennsylvania having 6 grade. Grade 1 is normo-osmotic. 2 is micro-osmotic or mild osmotic. Third one is moderate hyposmia. This mild hyposmia. Moderate hyposmia. Fourth one is severe hyposmia. And fifth one is total loss anosmia. And sixth grade malingering. If score 40, if we count total 40, if score less than 10, so definitely patient is malingering. So there are 6 grading in upset test. University of Pennsylvania smell identification test. It's normo-osmotic, mild osmotic, moderate osmotic, severe osmotic, anosmia and malingering. So there are 6 grading in this. Another test you may do olfactory event related potential, olfactory event related potential. This also having some specialized center, this leading to action potential generator test. So this is olfactory event related potential test. And another you may do by smell threshold test. So these are the testing management about how to diagnose the olfactory loss. History is more important. Now we will talk about treatment of loss of olfaction. Treatment part. Treatment. So what is not effective in trials? I will tell you what is not effective in trials. Zinc is not effective. A lot of studies done, but zinc is not found to be effective in smell. If you are prescribing zinc related medicine to the loss of smell, is not going to affect. Alpha lipoic acid also not effective. What is effective is may be effective, or it's found in trial it is effective, like systemic corticosteroids. If we found there is idiopathic or URTI related smell loss, we can prescribe corticosteroid prednisolone or bisolone or maybe methylprednisolone in doses of 1 milligram per kg. What is also effective? Beta carotene or इसे retinoic acid. You may prescribe vitamin A in doses of 4,000 in female or 5,000 international unit in male. This is also found ineffective. Okay. Topical nasal steroids or spray may also found to be effective in some cases. Now we will talk about another treatment, which acupuncture. Also found in effective. Now another treatment is stem cells therapy. This is biotechnology. Stem cell therapy, if you are replacing, doing just like globose, you mean light horizontal cells which replace the olfactory. So this is just like globose cells. Stem cells we can have plasma rich blood. If we apply after doing rowing of olfactory epithelium area, we can apply plasma rich blood over the olfactory neuroepithelium after rowing it, so it is effective. If you say adult stem cells, like bone marrow having a lot of stem cells, after or blood also having stem cells, liver also having stem cells, itself neuroepithelium, olfactory epithelium also having stem cells. So applying rowing the neuroepithelium, after rowing you can apply these stem cells in neuroepithelium, it is also effective. So this is all about abnormality of the smell, treatment, management. Okay, thank you so much.